Currently atop of the Serie A standings, Napoli are one of Europe's most exciting teams. Kalidou Koulibaly has recently left for the Premier League as he joined Chelsea for 38 million, and two of Napoli's all-time leading goal scorers just left on a free. Dries Mertens to Galatasaray and Lorenzo Insigne to Toronto FC. Kim Min-jae's 18 million arrival from Fenerbahce seems to be a direct response to Koulibaly leaving, and Matias Oliveira's 11 million transfer from Getafe gives Napoli a long-term option at left back. Giacomo Raspadori is one of Italy's most exciting prospects. Although he's completed a loan move for this season, the transfer appears to be imminent for right around a 30 million fee. And Tanguy Ndombele has shown glimpses of promise with Spurs. I think a loan move at this stage of his career is a good next step. And if he impresses for Napoli this season, they can exercise the future fee just like we did for this rebuild. One transfer that seems to be taking longer than expected is Marco Fabian's move to PSG. He hasn't been included in any of Napoli's matches so far, while talks are still ongoing. We'll be completing the move for 50 million as we turn our attention to some of the board objectives, and I think Kurmo did a pretty good job with reflecting realism. A long-term domestic success objective of winning Serie A within 2 years. Napoli has recently fallen just short, and we'll also be looking to make decent progress in the Champions League as we attempt to reach the quarterfinals. I'm recording this just before the Champions League draw is announced, so the group that we're in isn't necessarily the same that Napoli have for the upcoming season. If any Napoli fans are watching this, I'd like to hear your opinions on Luciano Spalletti. From what I understand, he's well respected in Italy, having managed a few different teams in Serie A. I think the transfers that the club have made are ambitious, and their style of play dominating possession has been a joy to watch. There are some rumors going around that Keylor Navas will join Napoli on a season-long loan spell. That would be incredible if they can pull it off. Obviously, it's going to be difficult for us to do that in this rebuild, so we'll need to exercise a 25 million permanent transfer as he looks to be our new long-term number one. As a response, Alex Mere will be going out on loan for the season. There has been some criticism for him and the mistakes he made last season in particular. We'll see our season start against Atalanta. I've optioned for the 4-2-3-1 formation, which is practically what Napoli play. A variation of a 4-3-3 with a more attacking-minded midfielder. But here are a few development plan changes. Raspadori will be acting as a left winger for us instead of a striker. And unfortunately, we will not be able to include Kvaratskhelia as he is not in FIFA 22. And it's a shame because he is off to an incredible start, and I think he is going to be one of Napoli's top performers this season. And you heard it here, he should be one of your go-to signings in FIFA 23. Fortunately, we can sign some in-game generated players to make up for that, as we do have a 5-star scout who will stay in Italy for the entirety of this season, searching for any type of player. Also starting with a homegrown talent. Samuel Giordano is ironically also a left-sided midfielder, potential at 76 to 94. He has pretty balanced attributes, but we'll be converting him to a left winger and checking on his progress halfway through the year, as well as any other youth academy players that we can find. But so far so good in Serie A. We are atop of the standings, 5 points clear of both Juventus and Inter. And in our Champions League group that saw a rematch for Ndombele against Spurs, we will finish undefeated, 16 points, which means us and Spurs will be advancing to the knockout stages. And I feel like this sums up Napoli pretty well. They typically have such a strong start to the season. The big question is if they can withstand that for the entirety of the year, but we've managed to find 3 promising youth academy players. We already know Giordano well. He's up to a 72 rating, but we also have a high potential goalkeeper with Enzo Bernardi, 64 rated, potential at 78 to 94, and a defensive midfielder with Samuele Castelli, 62 rated, 93 to 94 potential. To help further their progress, they'll be loaned out until season's end, and we'll see how they do get along for their overall rating, helping us achieve one of our board objectives. But the focus on, for right now, will be Champions League, starting in the round of 16 against Borussia Dortmund. An outstanding showing with Osimhen bagging a brace to give us a 3-0 advantage. Dortmund do end up get the 1-0 victory in our home leg, but we'll still be advancing 3-1 on aggregate and matching against Sevilla in the quarterfinals. A familiar opponent here, Leonardo Bonucci, longtime Serie A player for both Juventus and Milan, has made the transfer to Sevilla. And as far as the results go, that didn't stop us from still scoring a goal in our home fixture. We will also get the win in the away leg. And in our first season of this rebuild, we've already reached the semifinals against Manchester City. arguably one of the toughest opponents in career mode, and that was shown in the results. Bernardo Silva with a late goal to give City the advantage going into the second leg. We are level in that fixture, so we'll fall just short of reaching the final of Champions League. Also a few points short of winning that scudetto that we're striving for in this rebuild. And while it's not ideal, I would call it realistic. We were pretty much top of the Serie A standings for the entirety of the year heading into April, where we just started losing and drawing matches all of a sudden. With the tactics we use, we need enough squad depth, which may be an area of emphasis in future seasons. This will be the one time I show the bottom half of the standings, as there is no promotion and relegation, but in the Coppa Italia, we make it to the quarterfinals, losing out to Milan. It's Inter to defeat Juventus in the final of the competition. And as for Champions League, good news for Koulibaly, as in his first season at Chelsea, he ends up winning some silverware, defeating Manchester City in the final 2-1. West Ham will pick up the dub in Europa League against Leverkusen, and Getafe will secure the Conference League title against Stade Rennais. Victor Osimhen is an exceptional talent, and if he can stay healthy, I think he could have really a breakout year for Napoli and could challenge to be the Serie A top scorer like he was in this rebuild. There's going to be a lot of focus on him from other clubs around the world in future seasons, but we also had Zielinski putting in a respectable 16 assists from 47 appearances. As for our youth academy promoted players, Bernardi up +3 to a 67 rating during his loan spell at Middlesbrough. Giordano up to a 75 overall, and Castelli also in England +6 to a 67 rating. I would say it's been a solid start to this rebuild. No trophies secured, but we have the right foundations in place. There will be some changes to the Napoli squad for Season 2, both in terms of arrivals and departures, but if you're enjoying the rebuild so far, make sure you drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to reach 75,000 subscribers before FIFA 23. If you can help make that happen, that would be greatly appreciated. But again, board expectations pretty much on point. We're looking to sign 2 crucial players, reach the final of the Coppa Italia, now try to win Serie A, and reach the final of the Champions League. Our group for the Champions League will consist of PSG, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Başakşehir. A good rematch opportunity for Navas against his former team. But budget-wise, we'll have no problems in terms of signing players, especially when we receive offers like this for Osimhen. Out of all the offers I could have gotten, I thought this one for Bayern was quite realistic. They eventually need a replacement for Robert Lewandowski, and coming off a season where he was Serie A's top goal scorer, I think now is the time for him to make the move. It's a 125 million euro deal, which ended up being the top transfer of the summer by a good margin. Now that we've got Navas secured as our number 1, I felt like it's time to let Mere leave. He'll be heading to Spurs on a permanent deal of 15 million. And now it's time for us to look for a replacement striker. For me, Armando Broja stands out as a potential option. I know he's lower rated than Osimhen. However, I think he's going to get a run of matches for Chelsea this season. For 40 million, we're definitely betting on his exciting prospect status to be fulfilled. But if it ends up working out, we've got our striker for the entirety of this rebuild. Gonzalo Montiel is actually one of my favorite right backs to sign. He has recently made the move to Sevilla, but has featured a limited number of matches for them. A well-versed defender, has now some experience in European competitions, and I think he can give us competition at right back. 35 million will be the final figure attached for this transfer. We're again looking to sign a future prospect with Castello Lucaba. He is one of the 60 nominees for the 2022 Golden Boy Award, and despite his young age of 19, he has consistently featured for Lyon in their defense. For 27.5 million, I think this is a fantastic deal, another exciting prospect added to the Napoli squad. But we are ready to begin our season and the charge for our 3rd scudetto. Here is going to be our starting 11. A lot of our new signings are actually featuring on the bench or in the reserves, so we'll gradually rotate them into the team. We've also got a position change for Elmas. He's going to be converting to a center attacking mid, resulting in a +1 to his overall rating. But we'll go ahead and check results in January 2023. Contrary to last year, we are not top of the table, 8 points behind Inter, in fact, who have had an undefeated start to the year. It was always going to be a battle between us and PSG. I think we put in a respectable outing for the Champions League, but fall just short of topping our group. The 3-month injury to Hirving Lozano will result in some changes to our starting 11, though. Politano competing to earn his spot both for Napoli IRL and in this rebuild, will take over at the right wing position as we head into the round of 16 against last season's Champions League winners Chelsea. They seem to like their Serie A transfers as they have brought in Ilicic toward the latter stages of his career. But how about this for a result? 3-0 in the first leg, Broja getting a goal against his former team, and in the second leg, things end 1-1. That'll put us into the quarterfinals against another English opponent with Spurs. It's Alex Murray, who is unlikely to feature, unless of course there is an injury to Hugo Lloris, but at Spurs' home leg, we end up getting the winning result. It's Politano to get the goal. Heartbreak in the second leg. Spurs forced extra time in the 120th minute. It's Basuma to get the winning goal to see them through to the semi-finals. Although the Champions League did not go as planned, there's absolutely still something for us to play for. We've got the final of the Coppa Italia against Milan. We've also got a crucial final match in the Serie A season against Juve. In all honesty, it didn't end up being too exciting of a fixture, going 120 minutes without a goal for either team. So we will see an exciting end to this match as we head into penalty kicks, and we'll see who will end up on top, as we will be taking the first penalty. It's Raspadori to convert said pen to give us the early advantage. Zlatan actually featuring in this one, missing his penalty kick as we're up 2-0. Can Sabanir convert? Yes, he can. All we got to do now is try to make our chances. Zambo Anguissa with a miss. Milan tying things up 2-2. And it's our homegrown talent who also misses a penalty. Benacer over the bar. And this shootout seems to be going on and on. A deciding one here as Rafael Leao steps up and he's going to go straight down the middle. Navas unable to make the save. It is going to be Milan now with a chance to win it. Can Rebic converts? No, he hits the post, and we're going to keep on going. I don't even know how far we are into the penalty kicks. It's got to be past the 5 and probably closer to 6 or 7. But now we're through to Lukaba. So now some of the defenders taking penalties, and Kyle Walker trying to seal it for Milan. Unfortunately, this one is going to be converted. So the former Spurs and former Manchester City player now making a move to Italy will give Milan the trophy in this one. I'm definitely going to use this match as some added motivation in a crucial final match of the season against Juventus. We need either a win or a draw. A loss would actually put us behind Juve in the standings, and we will get a 0-0 scoreline, meaning that we just secure Champions League football for us next season. We'll go ahead and review results in the Champions League. Spurs defeating us in the quarterfinals, but it is an Italian winner with Inter defeating PSG in the final of the competition. Atletico Madrid getting the win against Hoffenheim in the Europa League, and it's Wolves to defeat Dynamo Zagreb in the Conference League. There were some concerns about Broja and whether he would be high rated enough to get goals, but that seems to have been no problem. +5 in his rating, 29 goals from 45. And for the assist categories, Zielinski continues to get better and better. Now 22 assists from 47 appearances. Bernardi at Celtic this season on loan, going up +5 in his rating, and Castelli over at Braga going up +4 to a 71 overall. But we do have one club departure. Juan Jesus will be heading to Crystal Palace as they approached him on a pre-contract deal. 53 manager rating to close out this year. I think we do need to win a trophy next season if we want to keep our job. Because we are looking to win some silverware this season, I'm largely looking to keep this Napoli team intact while still making some improvements for the future. As for our board expectations, an interesting look as we try to sign a player from North America. You can make your guesses now as to who that might be. But for the Coppa Italia, we need to reach the final. Serie A, win the league title. And for Champions League, expectations to win that competition. So a tough year ahead, especially now as we turn our attention to the Champions League group. Leverkusen, Porto, and Dynamo Zagreb. I think all these teams have a decent chance of going to the knockout stages. But our transfer budget has once again gone up this season to $285 million. And when this sort of offer comes in for Hirving Lozano, he was linked to Manchester United a few years back, I think before he actually even went to PSV, and probably even then before he went to Napoli. It just seems like the right time for him to move on, as he will be arriving for a $75 million fee at Old Trafford. And Ndombele also will be departing now to Barcelona. There were a lot of big name clubs wanting to secure his signature. Mario Rui getting up in age, but Borussia Dortmund were still willing to pay $15 million for his arrival. and Pitania hasn't exactly played a role in this Napoli rebuild, so I was okay with letting him go to Sevilla, also for 15 million. While that may seem like a lot of departures out, I don't think too many of those players played a key role in this squad, and some of these arrivals will certainly make up for it. Starting with Thiago Almada, his recent move to MLS and Atlanta United broke records as for spending. He's a fan favorite on career mode, versatile enough to play at center attacking mid or out wide, and we had to spend the big bucks to bring him in. 60 million was the final fee. I had a few candidates in mind who would be our North American player signing, but I think the perfect one is Gianluca Busio. He's still at Venezia in this save, who unfortunately in his first season there did get relegated to Serie B, but he's still at the squad, and I think he can help them make a promotion push back to Italy's top flight. Now that we're a few years on in this simulation, he's up to a 77 overall rating, actually has an exciting prospect status, and we only had to spend 20 million to secure his signature. Juan Miranda has had an interesting career so far. Originally part of Real Betis's youth academy, he did make the move to Barcelona, then went on to get loaned out a few times, and now he's back at Real Betis. Actually scored the match-winning penalty to help them lift the Copa del Rey last season, which was a huge deal. If any of you know, Real Betis went a long time without a trophy. I'm sure it'll be tough for him to move on from his boyhood club, but for 30 million, it was a good deal, and he's going to give us needed cover at left back. We'll actually begin our season in a new competition, the Italian Super Cup, against AC Milan, who went on to, of course, defeat us in the Coppa Italia last year. Here is our starting 11. I've decided to give Politano the nod at right wing with Lozano's departure, and Zambonguisa switching to a center defensive mid role for us. But we'll get into that Super Coppa, and again, we're going to see penalties against Milan, losing out 3-2. Would have been nice to start this season with our first trophy, but we'll push forward to January, and we are now top of the Serie A standings. Only one draw. Everything else we've won so far. We kept that momentum going in our Champions League group, accumulating 13 points and well clear of the next place team. I think we can genuinely make a push for the Scudetto and maybe even Champions League this season, but we'll need to get through the knockout stages, which will start against Marseille in the round of 16. A 1-0 scoreline in the first leg, but 3-0 in the second leg. That home advantage coming into play, matching us up against Milan, a fitting opponent for the quarterfinals. They have gotten the better of us in recent fixtures, and that continued in the first leg, losing 3-2. And in the second leg, it's the exact same scoreline. I think it's fair to say that Milan has been our nemesis so far in this rebuild. However, we will play them one more time this season, and it's going to be a deciding one in Serie A. Still 5 matches left to play, but a win here would mathematically secure us the title. And when we did, goals from Almada and Broja gave us a 2-0 win. Despite it taking 3 seasons and a few missed opportunities, we will finally give Napoli its 3rd Scudetto in its history. A trophy that fans have been in reaching distance of in the past, but now we finally gone and done it. We actually went and hit the Centurion mark by season's end, a feat that I don't think we've accomplished yet in FIFA 22, so big ups to Napoli. Quarterfinals exit in the Coppa Italia, with Inter defeating Milan in the final. Of course, we lost to Milan in the quarterfinals of Champions League. They went all the way to the final, defeating Liverpool and getting another Champions League trophy for an Italian club. Juve will get the dub in the Europa League against Villarreal on penalties, and Trabzonspor defeating Leicester in the Conference League final. Broja's goal numbers and overall growth has been really good. He's up to an 87 overall rating, and Zielinski continues to be the top player for assists, 19 this season from 49 appearances. Bernardi making some solid progress and probably good enough to be our number 2 goalkeeper next season. Same thing for Castelli. I think he's right in the conversation for a squad rotational role. Some decisions to be made though, as both Navas and Sirigu will be seeing their contract end, deciding not to retire despite getting on in age. And even with winning Serie A this season, our manager rating really hasn't changed too much, so we need to check off some of these board objectives. As champions of Italy, we have to be one of the favorites for the Champions League, but not before we make some changes to our starting 11. For board expectations, we need to sign 3 crucial players and domestically win the cup, win the league, and in the Champions League reach the final. Arguably our most difficult group to date, with Barcelona, Lyon, and Shakhtar Donetsk. Our transfer budget seems to be going up $1 million each year, about $375 million to our disposal. But I was wondering when Raspadori would be leaving the club. I thought about it in the previous year, decided to keep him for one more season. But personally, I found this swap deal offer for Christian Pulisic to be extremely interesting. He's not featuring a lot for Chelsea right now. I think he needs to move away, whether that be another Premier League team, back to the Bundesliga. There have even been some talks with Serie A clubs, but it's absolutely wild Raspadori is leaving on a 9-digit sum plus Christian Pulisic as part of the swap deal. He's not even our highest evaluated player, but I think he has a bright future ahead. We'll keep the transfers going by signing an experienced goalkeeper with Koen Castells. I mean, for Wolfsburg, they have been in European competitions pretty recently, but last season they were fairly disappointing. I think he's good enough to be playing in the Champions League, and he may even be the difference maker for us in Season 4 as he arrives for 50 million. We're going to keep our trend, though, of signing some promising players for the future. Samuele Ricci is another one of Italy's top prospects. The center midfielder has recently completed a move to Torino on a permanent basis, but he draws a lot of comparisons to Pirlo as part of Empoli's youth academy and also kind of playing that regista role. Another 50 million deal to complete the move, and we're going to make one more addition with Noah Mbamba. He is the next big prospect coming out of Club Brugge's youth academy, and with Charles de Ketelaere recently making a transfer to Serie A, I think it's fitting that he joins us at Napoli. Versatile enough to play at center back or center defensive mid, we'll see his transfer for 10 million. We do have one final transfer going out with Ramani going to Atletico Madrid for 35 million. He just requested a transfer due to lack of playtime. Back-to-back seasons where we'll see our start in the Italian Super Cup. But here is our starting 11. All in all, I think this team is improved from last year, and hopefully we have the squad depth to withstand the test across all competitions. Before that Super Copa, we'll finally get a win on penalties, and that is another trophy added to our collection in this rebuild. January 2025, and we are once again at top of the Serie A standings. Again, we've gone undefeated, granted a few more draws, but we will be advancing in our Champions League group. It was always going to be difficult, but it seemed like a lot of points were shared, which put us well above the rest of the teams in the group stage. No changes planned to our starting 11, so we'll get right into the round of 16 against Manchester City, who knocked us out in the semifinals in Season 1, and they've went ahead and made some great transfers. Bruno Guimaraes joining an 85 overall and a 0-0 scoreline in the first leg, but Zielinski, primarily known to contribute a lot of assists, but he will get the goal to put us through to the quarterfinals, where we will face another tough opponent with Real Madrid. They've signed a great Serie A prospect, Roma's Zaniolo, but we are once again going to see a 0-0 scoreline in the first leg. Absolutely getting goals in the second leg. 2 from Roya, 1 from Zambo and Gisa, and we are back in the semifinals of the Champions League against a surprise opponent. Leicester have made the step up from competing in the Conference League last year to now the Champions League. They do have a pretty cool squad, signing Karim Adeyemi along the way, and it was a high-scoring fixture in the first leg, Leicester getting the advantage 4-3, but a 2-0 scoreline in the second leg means that we will finally be in the Champions League final against a Serie A opponent with Juventus. As this will be our final match of the season, I want to review results. Unfortunately, our Serie A campaign did not go as well as it did in the first half, ultimately finishing 3rd in the league. But we did start the season off with a Super Coppa victory and also won the Coppa Italia against Inter, meaning that if we can get this Champions League dub, that'll accomplish a treble winning season. Sevilla defeating Manchester United in the Europa League, and it's Arsenal to beat Marseille in the Conference League final. Checking back on some former players, Osimhen is up to a 91 overall at FC Bayern. And it's Chucky Lozano to an 86 overall, still at Manchester United on the cusp of being 30 years old. Koulibaly still going strong in this rebuild, also staying at Chelsea with an 85 overall rating. Insigne still in MLS, now down to an 80 overall, so dropping quite significantly. Mertens has gone ahead and retired, but his regen is available. Lenny Verstraete is an 83 rated Belgian center forward, should have good potential for the future. When it comes down to this, the Champions League final against Juventus, can we close out this rebuild with another trophy? We will manage the first highlight, and it's Broja to play through Zielinski, arguably the player that had the biggest impact in this rebuild. primarily for assists, but even for scoring goals, as he gives us the opener in this one. It's Juve to answer right back, though. They've signed Timo Werner, and just some good passing play to get the ball over to Vlahovic. He'll give Juve the equalizer in the 42nd minute. Into the second half now, and it's Werner and Vlahovic. Some great link-up play, giving Locatelli the chance through on goal. And now our opponents will take the lead. Trying to answer back with a substitution, it's Thiago Almada being brought off for Politano. He can play both centrally and out wide. I believe I actually gave him the starting right winger spot for the remainder of this match. But Broja, he's gotten plenty of goals, and he will get a big one here to find, once again, the equalizer in this one. We're into the last minute of regulation time, trying to hang on to possession and get the final opportunity. Christian Pulisic played through, and what a move this has paid out to be. There may have been some critics for his transfer to Serie A, but it seems that played out in his favor, as he will give Napoli the winning goal in this Champions League final, and that is exactly how we will close out this rebuild. Big thanks for all of you supporting the content on the channel. If you want to see some more realistic rebuilds, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new around here. But until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to y'all again soon.